Good day, good people of the world. My name is Sanja Milosavljevic, and I'm going to be your host today. You are listening and watching to Mondopreneur podcast. It's a podcast dedicated to entrepreneurs from all over the world, but not just for them. It's for everyone who wants to, listen and see how other people are dealing with this new situation that we are all dealing with, and to maybe find some ways to overcome those problems and to maybe spark some new ideas and to meet entrepreneurs from all over the world. And this whole project is supported by US Embassy in Belgrade in Serbia. And thanks to them, we can share stories from interesting people from all over the world. My today's guest is Peter, and he is from Great Britain, but he lives and works. Well, he lives in Croatia, but he works all over the world. So he is, let's say, an example of a Mondopreneur. So I hope that you're going to enjoy our conversation. Hi, Peter. How are you?
I'm doing well. I'm doing great. How are you?
Well, as I mentioned before, it's finally nice weather in Serbia, and every time it's nice weather and hot and warm, I feel super great. So I'm super great now.
Absolutely. I mean, sunshine can make all the difference, can't it? Even sunshine even if it's not warm, sunshine can really boost everything. But sunshine and warmth, best combination.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So I usually ask my guests to introduce themselves in short, like what is their educational background, and does it have anything to do with the things they are doing now, and what are their interests and what are their hobbies? So can you tell us something about yourself?
Okay, absolutely. So if we go right the way back now, so my educational background is art, is actually design, graphic design, art. Went to art school, art college, and I imagine, for me that it was very much a time of observing everything around me, trying to make sense of everything, what people see and the emotions and the feelings people have when they see something and the signals it gives you when you see those things. It was a time of really focusing on that. And so if we fast forward to today, which this has a lot to do with what I do today. So really today, as a speaker coach, as somebody who helps people find their stories, craft their stories, and then deliver those ideas, those messages in the right way to create the right perception. This is really connected to what I was doing way back when. So essentially, I help people to speak better online. So getting really good at Zoom calls, getting really good at creating that trust and connection between two people, 2D people through a screen, which is really difficult, isn't it? It's really difficult often to create that connection and that trust between two people on Zoom. So I help people to create that presence, get closer to the perception you want online, and naturally do this in person as well, as a TEDx coach and a pitch coach, and literally helping people to share their messages in the right way.
Mm-hmm. So you are actually in creative industry. As you said, you were studying arts, and now this is kind of an art for me. Art, in a sense, artisanal, to help people to shape their stories and to deliver them. So that's nice. Can you tell us something about exactly the thing you do? You said that you are a virtual coach, and how is it? Is it difficult to gain trust, to that people can trust you, that you are going to solve their problems and help them overcome those? This Zoom, cogito ergo Zoom, yeah.
Yeah, so really, a year ago, more than a year ago, we were kind of all of us forced, and we were forced to use this medium, to use this format, to connect through this format. So our meetings, our if it was selling, we had to do it through this. We have to do it through the screen. If it's an intro call, a webinar, a meeting, leading your team or teams, we kind of had to do it. We had to change and do it through this screen, which is very different, a very different skill set from when you're in person, right? Because there are many things taken away in terms of what we see, what we feel, this chemistry that we can create. If I met you, Sanya, I meet you in Belgrade, for example, we meet, we have a coffee, we chat, we get to know each other a little bit. I can see how you move, you can see how I'm moving, and you kind of get to know me quicker through in person than here. But I still, both those times, we still have to kind of create trust within one another, and respect one another, and try to connect with one another, whatever we're doing, whether it's something personal, we're just having chatting together as friends perhaps, or if it's something in terms of business, we still have to create that trust and emotion and connection. So people that I work with, a lot of the clients come to me knowing they have to do this better, knowing that they really want to get really comfortable with this format, not something that you have to do every day. We do it a lot, we do it all the time. So anything we do a lot of, we tend to feel that we know how to do it. Right? So we know how to do it well, right? But that's not always the case. Yeah, anything we do many times, our confidence often grows because we've done it many times. But again, it doesn't necessarily mean we're doing it right. And from what I see, and from what I hear, and from what a lot of clients tell me as well, especially people maybe that are leading teams, they see within their teams maybe the connection is not as good as it could be. The trust level isn't coming through as it would do perhaps if they were in person. A lot of salespeople, for example, maybe they're really good at their jobs, they've got this charisma, they know what to say, they know how to say it, and they know how to sell essentially. But when it comes to on screen, it's a completely different skill set. So you have to think about different things and different behaviors.
Like what? Okay. Sorry to interrupt you, but
I'll tell you. Absolutely. I'll give you some tips right now. So just always remember, here on screen, time is much more important, is more valuable, and we have less of it than in person. Okay, in person, everybody's time is valuable. Mine, yours, we've got many things going on. But here on the screen, our attention spans are a lot shorter. Any screen we look at, everything coming through that screen is usually designed to attract our attention, designed to get us to pay attention. Netflix, a movie, a TV show, a pop video, whatever it is, it's designed to get an app, even on your mobile phone. It's designed to keep our attention. So we're now on screens, and we have to keep other people's attentions quicker and keep it for longer than what we would do in person. So what does that mean then? That means that our messages have to be more concise. Our messages have to be shorter. Our messages have to be to the point. We have to really get people to feel something, get people to understand us, get us more quick in a quicker sense than we would do in person. So that's one thing. Also, when you're looking through this screen, everything I see, I'm making a snap judgment about. So I'm looking at you right now. If anyone else can see this, I can see where you're sitting. There's a light to your right. You got a wonderful microphone in front of you. I can see what you're wearing. And this gives me lots of signals. I can see probably it's not a cold day today, as you say. I know it's not a cold day. You told me, but I can see by what you're wearing. It gives me this impression that it's warm outside, and there's a glow on your face as well, which tells me you're feeling good, probably because of the weather, So all these signals are coming through, and we have to share signals that really get closer to the perception we want to get, right? So everything we do with our face, our body language, how we look into the camera, all of this, we're kind of focused on more. This is more intimate than it would be in person. I probably wouldn't be looking at your face as much as I am now, or we wouldn't be focused on each other completely as we would be if we were in person. Right?
This is interesting because I never thought that this kind of a conversation is more intimate than when you are actually in
well, the thing is, we've got more. There are more things
Very
in person. There are many things going on.
Distractions.
All things going on. Absolutely. But background where we are, people walking past, wind, noises, sound, whatever it is. Here, it's just me and you, 2 cameras. And we've almost got an objective, you know. So this on this Zoom call now, our objective is to have this conversation, try to share value, help people to maybe understand a few ideas that I can share and you can share as well. And by the end of it, they walk away feeling like, oh, I enjoyed that conversation and I've learned something. Right. So we know that, and that's what we're doing. If it was in person, probably there'll be other things that pop in and time will go a little bit slower, and then we'll be talking about other things perhaps. But here it is a lot more intimate, and as I say, our time is really valuable and we have to get people's attention. We can do that with a little bit of awareness on different things, awareness of what we look like, awareness of our background, awareness of how we move, awareness of our voice, how we sound. Because remember, our voice is like music. So music, when we listen to music, it's emotion, isn't it? When we're art, right? Art. When we look at something, what we see equals some kind of emotion, right? Colors,
of course.
some kind of emotion. Sound. So music, same thing. Our voice is the sound, and it's the same thing. What we hear evokes some kind of emotion, and we know it. We know people who have lovely voices. We know people who don't have great voices. We know people who speak really fast with a high voice, and we know people who are very calm and with a lower, more deeper, credible, calming voice. Right. So all of this can create an emotion of how we feel and how we make a decision about who we hear and what we hear. And so remember who we hear, so who we're listening to about you. So my judgments about you, or somebody listening to this now, they're making judgments about me by what they hear. They're making complete judgments about you, Sanya, about about your voice and what they hear you say. So with a little bit of thought and a little bit of awareness and working on those areas, we can kind of get closer to a better perception that we're looking for. Yeah,
I agree. How important is then that emotional intelligence? I mean, it's nice if you can just give people some skill sets, like do this, do that, and you are going to reach your goal. But is it important that I am your client? Is it important that I have that kind of a developed emotional intelligence to be open to what you are teaching me?
Definitely. Absolutely. So the first thing is somebody that, let's say I'm working with a client. Our first interactions, whether they're on Zoom or whether we meet in person, is really just often me listening to them, listening to how they feel about everything, how they feel about themselves, how they feel about how people perceive them, how they put the story in themselves about who they are, the anxiety that they have perhaps, and why, where they want to be. So after working with me, where are we going to go? What steps do you think we would have achieved, or what path are we on? So it's a lot of it is is understanding the person and understanding if they are ready to be coached, ready to hear things perhaps they don't want to hear, or ready to hear things that are constructive criticism that they need to move on to get better, and whether they want to accept that. So somebody who doesn't want to, who feels they're already at a stage where they're good enough, or feels that they don't need any improvement, or feels that they're good enough, probably they're not the right people certainly to work with me. So yeah, just and also the skill of listening is so important. So listening in terms of somebody who wants to learn these skills, or any skills really. And also for me to listen, I really need to listen. So remember, all good speakers, all good strong speakers are often really good listeners. They listen to who they work with. They listen to themselves. So they listen to those stories in their heads, and they listen to them. They don't have to accept everything that they hear, because that story in our head, that voice we hear in our head, is always the biggest voice we'll ever hear, right? And often the biggest influencer in our heads, our own voice. And that's difficult. It's easy to say that, isn't it? But it's often difficult to navigate, because some of our voices are really loud. And we have to kind of sometimes not listen to that voice, right?
Or at least silent them a bit.
Or silent it a bit, know when to say, okay, that's enough for now. Let's listen to something else, which is actually going to help us. Yeah. So listening is a really big skill, really important skill, that certainly helped me through my career, and it still helps me, and it will continue to help me. And also the people that I work with as well, really be present and listen to feedback, listen to that emotional, almost this emotional temperature. So when you're presenting, let's say certainly in person, it's more difficult to do it online, but in person you create this emotional temperature in the room. It's you are creating by what you say, by how you say it, by people are listening to you at that time, so you dictate how that energy is in the room. And it's up to you to define it and to share it. So you can go for, if you're feeling nervous, everybody else will feel slightly perhaps awkward. If you've got this high energy, most people in the room, their pulses will be high as well. Not saying that high energy is always needed, because often it's not, but you do need some kind of energy. And often
can you explain? Sorry. So you said something interesting. Can you explain that high energy is not always the good thing? It has to be a bit, let's say, lower, or
absolutely. So energy comes in all different forms, right? So energy, just energy on its own, you can have a whole spectrum of energy. You can have you can have hardly any energy, like really low energy, where there's nothing coming through. And so right now, I've got the words are just coming out, and it feels like I don't care. It feels like, from your perspective and people listening, what am I doing here? Why am I with you now, Sanya? If you ramp it up a bit to the other scale, then it can be up here. So it's really, really high, and I'm really trying with you can see my body language, you can see my hands are coming up slightly here to my ears actually, and you can feel that by what I'm saying and how I'm saying it, I'm trying to create a bit more energy. I mean, you can hear my voice, it's slightly faster. My voice is faster, my tone is higher, and it's almost like there's something going to come, something's happening, and something exciting is about to happen, right? And I'm excited about it. I could go with that, or I could sort of go in the middle, where I'm slowing down and I'm quite calm. I sound calm, but what I say comes across hopefully as focused. So I know what I want to say. My pauses are coming after each phrase or a comma. I'm breathing after each phrase. I sound like I I'm excited. I am excited about what I'm about to say, and you can kind of hear that. You can hear the smile on my face. Funny word, funny phrase, isn't it? Hear the smile. How can you hear a smile? But you can. You can hear a
Yes.
smile, can't you? You can hear that
I know.
smile on my face, and it's more focused, and it's calmer, and it's lower, a deeper, credible voice. But I'm focused, and because I want you to believe me, and I want you to follow my words, and I want you to feel like, I know what I'm talking about. I'm credible, and something, this is serious. This is important, and it's a good thing. So that is kind of like focused energy. Yeah. So trying to get that focused energy, not most of the time, but you can mix it up. Sometimes you'll need a little bit of higher energy. Sometimes maybe slightly low when it's a really, maybe a serious topic or emotional topic. We can bring it right down, but you really need to sort of choose the energy and define what kind of energy you want to share and what's relevant for your audience. What do they need? What do they want? How will they? One example, for example, working at a lot of conferences as an MC, as a host. Most people would think, okay, you need to have a host with lots of energy, a host that has charisma, perhaps, and a host that's confident. Those three things are good, but they're not always needed all the time.
Can you
Right?
explain? Sorry.
Yeah.
Can you?
So at the beginning of the conference, that is the time where people are judging the conference a lot, because it's the first part. They're judging me as the host, as the face of the event, and they want to feel excited because it's the beginning of the day. Maybe they bought a ticket. Maybe somebody else bought the ticket for them, but they're there. They've invested their time to be there. They want to make sure they're going to get value. So my role there is really to give, good focused energy, telling them why they're there, telling them or sharing with them what they're going to get from this. So by the end of this day or 2 days together, you're going to walk away knowing more about this and this, or feeling more confident in this and this, or navigate the industry trends as they are right now in a more stronger and more confident way, something like that. Okay. But it's energy. It's good energy, feel good. And you again, people will see the smile on my face and they'll hear the smile. Okay. During the day, just before, let's say, I present or introduce another speaker, and their speech, let's say, is a very serious topic, or their speech is quite emotional, or their speech is actually the tone is doesn't need to be high energy. When I introduce that, I am not going to hit high energy. I need to come down and get people ready emotionally for what's next. That's a big job, and certainly when you present, when you're introducing speakers, let's say, to get people ready emotionally for what's coming next. If that next speaker might be a high energy kind of jumping around, engaging, full of charisma type of speaker, then my role then is I then build it up. I build up that introduction. I get them feeling good. I get them feeling excited. I introduce the next speaker, his name, bang, he comes on stage and people are ready, right? At the end of the day, often that's a time where people have lots of information, lots of overload sometimes of information. So what do they need? They really need almost like a summary of like the best bits of the highlights to think about. So bringing things down and then just sharing a short, simple, very simple kind of overview in a very simple way to understand that they can remember. Remember, anything which is simple, we can understand quicker and better, and we remember more. Anything complex with big words, long kind of explanations, it's more difficult to remember and difficult to absorb. So really simple, short sentences, get people thinking, and so they walk away with those simple ideas. So that's really how to gauge and define the energy that you have to share. Yeah. So it's not always, when we think about energy, often we do just think about this kind of, energetic kind of person. But it's not that. It's more about focused energy and choosing the right type of energy for the audience and for the context.
Thank you. Do you have any clients, or did you have a situation to just don't accept the client, or say, I don't want to work with you because I don't like your energy, or you're an egomaniac, or this is not going, you're just going to waste my time, regardless the money I can earn. Did you have any kind of situations like that?
So okay, at the beginning of my career, and I'm sure many people listening to this as well, it's really difficult to say no, isn't it? It's and course. You don't really accept everything. So every client accept everything, and then you learn very quickly. You learn that the energy or the hassle that you've put into working with this person, because of different reasons. Maybe they are just simply, the connection is not there. And you feel maybe awkward, or they're very critical perhaps, or they're not ready to be coached. They're not ready. They're not in a place in their mind, as we were talking earlier on, about feeling ready to accept somebody to help them move forward. Yeah. But you learn that over the years. I've learned that working with people that want to be coached, that are open-minded enough to absorb new ideas. These are the people that actually make me feel good, make me feel like the value is in my mind of what I'm doing. And so that's really important to have, because regardless of the money, regardless of how much they pay you, well, I don't know, maybe if it's really a lot of money, it depends.
Fair enough.
But often if it sometimes and the only way of knowing that is through experience and through those first meetings, really asking the questions that will give you the answers that will help you decide whether that person's right. And they're often doing the same. They're often doing the same at the beginning. They're probably they've called out to me. Maybe they've contacted a few other speaker coaches, people in the same industry, and at the end of the day, it's that connection that you have with that person, that potential client, which determines whether you're going to work together. And as some people are not right for you. Some people I prefer not to work with, and it's best I refer them to my competition even. Because I know that I couldn't give them the things they need specifically for them and what they would appreciate. So some people appreciate, and it as well, I'm sure as well, and many people who are listening to this, certainly entrepreneurs and people in business. Some people, you can do as much as you can, share really valuable ideas, lots of energy, and really gone over beyond the line of generosity to really help them get where they want to be, and they'll really appreciate that. You do the same thing for someone else, and in their minds, it maybe wasn't as great. It wasn't. They don't maybe appreciate it as much. And there's that balance, and knowing that balance exists is a good thing. Knowing that different people will appreciate different things, but as long as you keep trying to give the value and set out at the beginning what you're going to try and do, what you're going to give, where you want them to be, and that's the main thing. So it's sort of like this inner idea in your head of the value you're sharing, and knowing that value and accepting that some people may not appreciate that value.
Yes, like in life.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, of course. You mentioned the word value many times. I know it's a silly question, but it's a cliche now. But what are the new values for, let's say, your branch? Let's say for your industry.
The new values.
Yes.
Can you
what do you need to provide for your clients now? how did you manage to keep your clients, or how did you manage to gain new clients? Because last year nobody worked anything most of the
Yeah,
time.
yeah.
Like
Okay,
if
so
I had, sorry, but if I had a chance to be coached last year, like I had a problem to go to a meeting, live meeting, and everyone was wearing masks. So you can only see eyes, but I cannot see the facial expression, the whole facial expression. So that was the problem for me. And if I knew you, I would, let's say, like you to teach me how to read other signs and how to close the deal. So how did you have to change? How
yeah, well,
your
I had to
method has
change.
to
Yeah,
change.
absolutely. Well, everything went online for me. Everything went online, and at the beginning, I was quite skeptical about it because I'd only done something like 25% of my coaching was online. Everything else, face to face, and you know, traveling a lot. You know, and that suddenly stopped, and so it was a big shock for me, and a big big shock to my finances, my business finances, you know, really tough. But and the sooner I regret now, I regret not focusing more on what I'm doing right now. At the beginning, the first couple of months, it took me about 6 months which is a long time, 6 months to kind of realize, hey, actually, I can really help people to get good at this, get good at taking the skills I've already got and just transferring them and changing them and helping people to share the right signals online. Many are similar. There are things that are slightly different. So you know, at the beginning, I should have done it a lot quicker. But once I did, then it really got going and is really flourishing now, even better than before, actually, which is a really strange thing, but it's a good thing. And we're more effective now. We're more effective. I can connect with, I can have more clients throughout the day than I've ever had. The event industry, so as an MC, as a presenter, that is still kind of slowly getting back on track slightly. So there's more, so I go to more studios where it's just me in a studio and a camera. And
like hybrid versions.
Yeah.
Of,
so not really any audience, just studio crew, camera, and that's being a professional studio, and that's beamed out to wherever, right? So the effectiveness is a good thing, and it's effectiveness for all of us. So anybody who wants to, let's say, who wants to work with me, work with you, or work with a coach, they have more options now to find more people. They can look online more. There's more videos out there. There's more, you can hear people more, rather than just say maybe a website and a few videos before. Today, there's podcasts. So if anybody's, you know, thinking about perhaps, you know, working with me, they'll probably go on Google, put my name in there, and then lots of things will pop up. Podcast, this podcast maybe. Okay, my website's still under construction, but I've got all the other videos and things that will help you make up your mind. So you can, so for some people, they only need a little bit. Some people might want to go through lots and lots and lots, and they look at everyone else and look at the competition, and then that helps them make up their mind. Some people have to do that process. So I can give them that. I can give that. It's there online if they need that. So I think clients are more not skeptical, but there are more people doing certainly what I'm doing today. Right, there are much more, many more people doing it. More people are feeling more confident online, sharing their messages. So there are more people doing podcasts like you, Sanya. There are more people sharing their messages, more people creating videos. So, and there are more people that are coaches. Some of them are all different scale. You know, some of them feel confident enough that they can help people, and they haven't really helped many people, or others that have been like helping people for so many years, and actually really, you know, taking the leap and starting their business. You know, really creating a business about, you know, on coaching, helping clients move towards their goals. So but I think there's certainly room for everybody.
Of course.
And doing everything online, I can connect more, even further. So I don't actually have to travel there anymore. Although I will, I hope I will, and I hope that will come back. And I enjoy the traveling.
We all hope we are going to
I
be
love the
traveling
adventure.
soon.
The adventure's cool, and that's great. But in terms of effectiveness, like events, I can't. I couldn't do coach. I could do something like 6 coaching jobs in a month if I traveled there. Realistically, in a month now, I can do double that if I have to. So
Perfect.
So yeah, lots of challenges, but actually there are many benefits, many good benefits.
Let's say you're right now introducing yourself to the people from Balkans. Is there any kind of culturological differences between people regarding your job, regarding coaching them? Is there any differences between people in Asia or people in Balkans or people in UK, let's say? Do you need to have a different approach to everyone, or is this something universal, what you are doing?
I think there are many things that are universal, to be fair. I think lots of things are the same. People want to be listened to. We need to build up that trust, that connection. I need to show that I'm empathetic and I'm listening to what they need to figure out and be clear on how I'm going to help them do that. Differences, I mean, perhaps the sort of one thing does come to mind. Just here in 21 years in the region, my kids are Croatian as well. I have a business here in Croatia, and naturally over 21 years met a lot of Croatians. Well, I am people from the region, so one thing perhaps, but it's changing and it's getting better. Certainly, when I first arrived, there was this idea of often in the Balkans, perhaps there's this sense of we don't need help.
That's why I'm asking you. Sorry, but that's why I'm asking you. Yeah, because we are like the smartest people in the world.
Yeah, perhaps. Maybe not the world, but I mean, yeah, we kind of know stuff. Yeah, you don't have to help us. We're cool. But the thing is, we all need help. Yeah, all of us. And it's there's a fine line between knowing or accepting that you need help and you want help to move forward and get better. Even if you are at a good stage, you could be a really good stage. But it's always good. So the industry I'm in terms of speaking, in terms of sharing messages, in terms of sharing your messages in the right way, we all need to improve. Even me at the stage I'm at, I have a mentor, another speaking coach actually, and we help each other because we both see things in each other that we don't see ourselves, right? So yeah, getting back to the answer, yeah, I think certainly in the Balkans, this idea of we actually need help is a question that comes up certainly at the beginning, and many times it's been a barrier between me and working with them. And so when you've got that barrier, when you've got that question there, that kind of opens up a whole other ideas of the value. So if I don't need the help, then the price that you're sharing or the fee that you want from this, there's less value because I don't need the help. So I would say that, but it's certainly changing, and which is a good thing. And yeah, I would. What would you say? Would you agree with me? I don't know. Tell me what you think.
No, I told you because
as somebody from Belgrade. You're from Belgrade, right?
Yes, I'm from Belgrade. Like here in Balkans, I don't like to generalize, let's say, but you said that very nicely. Like we know everything and we don't need help. Like we are the smartest people. In Serbia, everyone is knows everything. Everyone is an expert in every every field. So that's why I'm asking you, is there a difference in different countries or different continents? Are some people more open to learning new stuff? Because here we are very tough, and it's very hard to gain our trust. But once you gain our trust, it can be very good connection. It can be very good relationship. But until that point, we are like, oh no, I don't need help. I know everything the best. So that's why I ask you, because you have experience in working with different people. I would like to ask you one more question that is also kind of a generalization, but it doesn't have to be strictly. So, is it easier to work with women, or is it easier to work with men? Because you mentioned word emotions many times, and for women, like we say for ourselves that we are an emotional beings and men are logical beings. But from your experience or from your point of view, is it easier to work with either gender, or it doesn't
Listen,
have to?
I think both. It's easy to work with both men or women. What I would say about women is that women, and this is a fact, this is a scientific fact, that women are more judgmental. Women are more judgmental about themselves, perhaps, about others, about other women, about how other people see them, the perception of others on themselves. So that all comes under the umbrella of emotional, those emotions in our mind, in our heads, in our hearts, about the things we see, hear, touch, feel, and understand. How we shape our lives, right? So which is a good thing, So working with females, it's easier. Maybe it's easier to get closer to the topic of emotion and how to certainly help women who are just finding it a challenge in terms of how people perceive them, which is why often we see more male speakers than women. I think this is a really important fact. There are more male speakers because they are less judgmental, and they think less about how people perceive them, whereas a woman generally, again, not good to generalize, but generally more the men think more about how other people see them, right? Which kind of is a reflection. We see that often in Zoom, where often we see more women with makeup on. A woman not wearing makeup. Oh, you haven't got much makeup on today, which is cool, right? But I'm sure lots of women that would never even dare to click, log into a Zoom call without looking great, stunning, their hair, So and that's just that's an idea, a perception idea, right? It's how we perceive how people think of other people. And so men, they wouldn't probably, whatever, if you got makeup on or not. Maybe other women, they would judge because they're in that same bubble. Bubble is not the right word, bubble, but they can understand it. They're closer to those ideas better. So
same place.
Emotionally, it's easier to work with women because they're closer to their emotions, and it's easier to maybe work and guide these type of clients or type of clients, the women clients, because they're more in touch with their emotions, or they're more aware of their emotions. Yeah, I would say that.
Is there any do you have a client that you can say, I did an excellent job? Like when I first met him,
everyone, I do an excellent job, Sanya. But so working with the real kind of, working with a client who has a board meeting, let's say, or presentation on Zoom, and you hear that they've done well, and maybe you get to see a little bit of it, is great. The times where working with TEDx speakers, for example, really working with them from almost day one, helping them craft and define and then deliver that story with impact. When you see it online on the TEDx YouTube channel, and you see them share that on LinkedIn, and everybody's like commenting and they think it's great, and they like what they've shared, and they feel really proud of that short moment, TEDx moment, 15 to 20 minutes. Inside of my mind, I'm thinking, it makes me feel proud. I'm proud to I'm not looking for any credits at all, because it's what they did. This is all their work. But it does make me feel kind of like good inside, that I know that I helped them change that phrase, or the way they delivered that last paragraph, or how the flow of everything went, because of what I've said, or what my input and my guidance and my knowledge. They have an even better TEDx talk than perhaps what they would have had before.
Now, I'm asking you this because your colleague here from Belgrade, Reda Dereta, I think 2 years ago, I was on a stage. I was preparing for public speaking. I was talking about my business or whatever. And I was so nervous. I was sweating. I was insecure, blah, blah. You know what are the things that speakers usually have? What are the issues that speakers usually have? And he helped me he shared 2 sentences with me. Like 2 sentences. He said some simple things just to relax me a bit, and I went to the stage, and it was actually a good speech. I was even pleased how relaxed I was, how everything went smooth, even though I was still nervous. But he really helped me. So I really appreciate your work. I mean, your work and work of your colleagues. What are your plans for next year? Because last year showed us that we cannot just plan for some, 5-10 years.
Yeah.
So what is your plan for the next year?
Well, really, I will continue working, building, sharing these virtual speaking and presence skill set webinars online. So and the more I do them, I'm learning even so much more as well. So there's all different elements in there: storytelling techniques, persuasive speech, on how we can get people's attention quicker, and getting that emotional connection and that trust quicker as well. So I'll continue to do that, and that will go forward. The event industry, as that starts to come back, it's really optimistic. I've already sort of Slovenia last week, and then Paris on Friday actually. And I'm really looking forward to that on a plane once again. Last one was 14 months ago. So for me, which plays a big part of my work, is really important. So it feels optimistic, and I can only sort of see these 2 areas moving forward. I've had more than a year at home, working from home, which is good as well. This is all good as also, but sort of really looking forward to spreading my wings again, and really helping event organizers have really strong event experiences, but equally helping teams to get really good at using this format in a way that's going to help them and get more business, and get better perceptions, and feel more confident, and feel good using this format as something cool, and it's good, and it feels good. So every time you're on there, you're sharing the best you can. Yeah. So I see those 2 areas moving forward quite well for 2022.
2022. Thank you, Peter. We reached the end of our conversation. Thank you for your time, and thank you for your knowledge, and thank you for the openness to share with us things you know, and things you learned, and things you do for living. So thank you once again.
Thank you so much. I've had fun. It's been really good for me to sort of share this and hear your views as well, and hopefully whoever's listening to this, they some things they can walk away with and say, actually, that's a good idea. I'm going to try that, and make me feel more confident about sharing my messages on a stage or on Zoom.
Good people of the world, you were listening and watching to Mondopreneur podcast. You can always follow us on Facebook and Instagram and LinkedIn, and you can always subscribe to our YouTube channel. Just type hashtag Mondopreneur. Stay good, stay in good health, and see you in a week.